Howdy, howdy to the person who is currently in here. I hope you're having a great Sunday. Is it Sunday today? Yeah, I think it's Sunday today. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Um, I had some things I was going to say. I was going to wait till there's more people, but I might as well just say it now because I'm not sure how many people is going to join because of I didn't actually get to advertise this as much as I was hoping. So on my website, I have like an email newsletter, an email campaign thing that I can do, and I didn't realize that there's only a limited amount that you can actually do. And yeah, I went to go send out one advertising it to like the 500 people that are on the newsletter, and it was like, oh, you can't do any more than you already have. So I went to call my website people on the Friday, and they said that they could do it, but they wouldn't be able to do it until Monday. So I didn't get to advertise this as much as I would like to have done. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. Obviously, at the moment, there's only one person in. So, well, there was two a second ago, but someone must have jumped out. Um, so I'll answer whatever questions come up from the live stream, and then we'll go from there. If more people join and we end up getting like a decent chunk in, then obviously I'll just stay and do a full live stream. But to save on people's times, I suppose we'll do questions for the current individual that's in, and anyone else that may join. And then if this ends up being posted live onto YouTube for other people to watch, obviously, hopefully this gives them the answers to the questions that they were hoping for, I suppose. We'll be advertising the membership more as time goes on, those that there will be more people in these live streams, and then we'll go from there. But to the current person who is in the live stream, thank you very much for being here. I understand that there wasn't a lot of advertising and all that kind of stuff done for it, but if you do have any questions, by all means, shoot, go ahead. Obviously, thank you very much for becoming a member of the gold tier. If you haven't already, pick up the free 10-minute call that you may have. Shauna Watkins says, dang, I can't believe I'm the only one. Yeah, at this current moment, like I said a second ago, I don't know if you would have heard it or not, but like I said a second ago, I didn't get to advertise this as much as I was like hoping to. Didn't really get to put the spin on it that I was looking at doing. I had like a whole email campaign planned for it, and it just didn't go well because of my website people, which I'm now in contact with about it all. But yeah, thank you very much for being here today, Shauna. I saw that you have messaged as well a few questions, which I will be getting back to, but I was actually out all last night as well. So I didn't really get around to doing any stuff. But after the live stream, I'll probably be recording the members only videos that will hopefully go live today. And then I'll get back to you on that. But if you wanted to, since we're here, you could ask me those questions or I could read them out and get back. I thought maybe it was because you were sick. I still am a little bit, but no, it was because I was away yesterday that I hadn't got around to it. But I'm more than happy to answer them now while on this live stream if you are interested. But obviously, I don't know if they're too personal. I'm glad you're there. Thank you very much. So yeah, let me know if you want me to answer them now on this live stream or in message, and I'll either read them. Yes. Okay. Cool. That's quick. Let me actually get around to it. Or get around to your messages. There's two people in here now, so hello to the other person. Thank you very much for joining the live stream, being a part of it, being a member, and being on the live stream. Thank you very much. If you could say hi, just so I can know who it is, just lets me know who my my favorite members are going to become. But you said, hey, you're right. Yeah, right, of course. Now, how to break my awareness of having no job currently waiting. The last one I had was temporary and not having two broke down vehicles. So I want to be out of that awareness and choose to afford one-on-one coaching with you for mainly just to have someone to talk about manifestation that gets it, knows and lives by it, and with it. I'm so wonderfully grateful that you are feeling better. Well, thank you very much for the kind words about feeling better. I'm pretty much there. I've got a bit of a cough that I'm very much containing right in this moment. I can feel it here, and I'm like, you're going to stay in. But thank you very much for the kind words. You say, I have nothing to hide or be ashamed of, and if it can help someone else, hell yeah, absolutely. It's very kind of you and very noble. But to answer your question, about being out of the awareness of having, so you said of having no job, currently waiting for the last one, and last one was temporary, and not having two broken down vehicles. And then, yeah, okay. So I'll answer the part about the affording one-to-one coaching. Obviously, that's why I made this membership as well, to try and make a cheaper alternative for people such as yourself that maybe have got some some troubles about going for one-to-one coaching. But I'm also looking into adding an additional step now that I'm back off holiday. Hopefully, we'll be like better by tomorrow. I want to make this membership, obviously, it's a little bit more pricey than the other ones, but that's obviously because of what I offer. But I also want to add in a section that basically says that you will get like sort of some form of quick response DM from me daily, not like a full extent of like the email coaching, because obviously that's its own separate entity. But as part of the gold membership, maybe there's like a daily Instagram response that I will sort of, I can guarantee that I'll do as part of the membership, and that should hopefully aid you. But I still need to work all of that out. As for your question of getting out of the awareness of having no job and the two broken down vehicles and such things like that, what comes up isn't what matters. It's, we can't be perfect. You know, you have two broken down vehicles, you have no job right now. So obviously, yes, you do have negative things going on in your life. You're not going to wake up and be like, sunshines and rainbows and never be affected by it. But what matters most is where you take that awareness. It's what stories you associate with and what you allow yourself to claim as your truth. So when like there's all of these stories about, you know, just flip the thought, or it'll be a case of just stay in the state and stuff like that. Well, yes, for some people, such as myself at this point of my journey, I can just change the thought, or I can just sort of occupy a state a lot better. But I wasn't always like that. And I think when I was learning at first about how to really manifest effectively, how to really grab a hold of my mind, hearing those things was really disheartening, because I couldn't just flip the thought. I couldn't just stay in the state. And it caused me a lot of frustration, which is actually one of the reasons why I ended up like sort of quitting content overall, because I knew that I needed to, or content watching, sorry, because this is way before I started my own stuff. It's because I needed to learn what really worked with for me without hearing it in my ear. Just flip the thought, just this is easy. Get it in 2 days, get it in this, get it in that. And I realized upon sort of more research into like books, upon application, upon all that kind of stuff, I realized, and just sort of a little bit of common sense as well, that, you know, we are human. We have an ego part of the mind. We have our prefrontal cortex. We have all of these different sort of the biologies and primal ways of thinking and acting and stuff. And all of these things are considered within the manifestation journey. They need to be, because no one is going to be a perfect robot. You obviously can get better at stuff like I am now. I can now just flip thoughts and stuff, but you're never going to be perfect. You will still have triggers. You will still have the odd moment where you do let yourself get a little too invested into something that happens. I like to think of myself as quite a calm person, but if someone cuts me up and almost crashes into my car, even I will sort of react then and shout and call them a dickhead or something like that, because it's part of the way that we work. Some things just get you more than others. So what I realized was that what comes up isn't what matters, it's what you associate with and what you will assume to be true for you following on that does. So if you wake up and think another day, still no job, you've thought that thought, so what? Let it go, you know, you've thought it already. But what would be more beneficial for yourself? Okay, well, I want a job. What does it mean to have a job? What kind of thoughts would I have then? How would I feel when I wake up in the morning? Without actually going to a job, what kind of actions would I take? For example, if you wake up at 11 a.m. every single day because you don't have a job, but you know that most people that do have a job, especially maybe in the field that you want to go into, would wake up at 7. Excuse me. Maybe you should start waking up at 7 just to get yourself into the routine and claim that you're getting up at 7 to go start your job. And then obviously going off and do whatever it is that you want to do during that day. But when it comes to taking yourself out of the awareness of these things, out of the awareness of having no job and such things like that, it starts with noticing when your awareness is actually involved in it, kind of doing like an inverse kind of situation. Notice when you are thinking as the version of yourself who doesn't have what it is that you desire. And then consider, okay, I'm thinking like this now, but what would I be thinking like, or what would I be feeling like, or how would I be acting right now if in this very moment I did have that job? And then obviously that's when you'll want to rein it in and consider those options, and then start taking on those uh, personas, those thoughts, feelings, and actions. So if you're sort of worrying about money because you don't have a job within that moment, if I did have a job, how would I be thinking? Oh, well, I'll be thinking calmly because I know money's coming my way. So from there, you go forward calmly. Obviously, yeah, you can still look for jobs and do whatever it is that you're wanting to do. But at least by holding that calm mindset about having the money coming your way, or about having a job that will provide you that money, you're then going to start taking on the thoughts, feelings, and actions of your desired version, which means you'll end up getting the consequences of those thoughts, feelings, and actions, which, considering what you assume to be true, will become true, means you'll end up getting that job, or a job, or, you know, whatever it is that you're working toward. You say, I actually do pretty decent changing my thoughts. Yeah, Christmas was rough for me. And then I do have a substitute job, just don't want that one. I want the one that was temporary. Oh, I see. Uh, okay, well, I mean, it's good if you do well at changing your thoughts. That is the beginning steps of, as you put in your question about, let me see what wording you used. How that's the beginning steps of breaking the awareness of having no job. Um, yeah. So that's like the beginning steps. You just start like working to change those thoughts. I'm currently thinking as though I don't have a job, or I'm currently thinking as though I would rather this job, or whatever you may be thinking in that given moment. You notice when you're doing that, and you start working to shift those thoughts into what would it be like? What would I be thinking right now? What would I be feeling right now? How would I be acting? And you start doing what you can. If you feel like really icky and horrible within that moment, like really panicky and anxious, maybe do some breath work, meditation, exercise, something that makes you feel good, and then go into the new thoughts, the new feelings, the new actions. Because what comes up isn't what matters, it's where you take it. And this is very similar to my video that I did on, I think it was Friday, about your manifestation is only a choice away. This is something that you will need to continue doing until you get your desire. Anytime you're thinking wrong, do something to stop yourself from thinking wrong, and then begin to think right. Feeling wrong, begin to feel right. Acting wrong, begin to act right. And this will, over time, create this new version of yourself internally. It will create a new sense of being. It will create a new assumption, and as a result, create that new outcome. And staying in the state and redirecting yourself back to that state are essentially the two same things, so to speak. It's just a process of, I'm not in it, let me put myself back in it, or let me just put myself straight into it. And either way, you're still going to get your outcome. You said Christmas was rough for me. Yeah, I mean, Christmas is rough for a lot of people. I tried my best to stay very vigilant with my clients over the period of time, but obviously I was doing bits. I did actually keep up with it in terms of responding to every single person every single day, like I promised I would over Christmas. But yeah, I think Christmas is a rough time, and I think having a coach there during Christmas can be helpful. But I definitely don't think it is like, Christmas is fine now. I have Matt there. You know, it's still going to be rough for people, but hopefully you still had a good time despite being a little bit rough, because obviously we all have desires. I have things that I want that I'm working towards. I know Katie has her things and such things like that, but you should definitely never let it kind of get in the way of your life as best you can. I understand that everyone's situations will be different, but yeah, it's just one of those things that if you can do the best you can by looking at the positives in your life, you'll get more positives. I actually have a members only video going live. Hopefully today. I still need to finish making it and then recording it, because like I said, I was away yesterday, so I haven't been able to finish making it. But it's about the winner's effect, and it's essentially how to make use of that focus and stuff. So hopefully your Christmas wasn't awful, even if it was a little rough. And then there was the one about the temporary one. Surprisingly, money flows to me. That's good to hear. So I'm not worried about that. Good. I'm glad to hear that. It's a lot of people do struggle with money in terms of their mindset. We've obviously, a lot of people have been brought up, myself included, with the money doesn't grow on trees mindset, or I'm not made of money, and parents saying, no, you can't have this, you can't have that, because if we get it for you, then we'll have to get it for the other kids and stuff like that. So I'm glad that you don't have bad money mindset, and money does flow to you, despite obviously only having a temporary job despite having a job that you're not interested in and wanting your other one back. And then you said, yes, love that video. I'm assuming you mean the choice one. Thanks. I like that video too. I think videos like that, I think, should do better than they do, because I think they would help a lot more people, a lot more than the ones that do well. Because a lot of the ones that do well, I find, just have the right wording that make people feel better, not necessarily actually giving them the information, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Rena, howdy, Rena. Glad to have you here. You say, "Hey Matt, hope you get better soon." Thank you very much. I'm getting there, still kicking. As you can probably hear, the increase in talking has made my voice go a little bit raspy and stuff, but I'm getting there. You said, "I had a question around family, friends, etc. I feel like I'm working on myself, focusing on my manifestations. Glad to hear it, but it's hard to block out what they say. If it's conflicting. Any tips on how to block this out, not, or not let it affect the manifestation techniques?" Yeah, absolutely. I mean, have you ever heard of the crab in a bucket statement, or say, not, it's not an experiment, it's like way of nature, essentially, is the ideology that if you have like a bunch of crabs within a bucket and one of them starts escaping, the others will all try to drag it back down because obviously it's like, join us, be like us, so to speak. So the thing that I like to remind myself, because going back to what I said sort of earlier on in this live stream, I don't know if you were in it, so I'm just going to sort of slightly reiterate, is what was the point I was about to make? I can't even remember what point I was about to make. I'm going to just start talking again and hopefully it comes back up. But yeah, the crab in a bucket thing. So I find that a lot of people that do know of manifestation but don't believe in it, or don't believe in it at all, or don't even know about it, they will all have this same kind of attitude. I remember the point I was going to make, but I'm going to make it after. They all have the same kind of attitude of what's the point in trying? And that's something that really bugs me. Is even like, for example, I have friends, then they know about my business. They do mock me for my business a little bit and like the stuff that I do. And that's fine, we're friends. We're supposed to take the piss out of each other. One of them we take the piss out of for being basically a lazy bum and stuff like that. So, it's all friendly and stuff. But they mock me for this because they're like, I just don't see, how changing your thoughts is going to affect the experiences you have. And my response to them is always, what's the harm in trying? Like, let's say, for example, there's absolutely no evidence to suggest it does work. Where is the harm in at least just giving it a go? And that's one thing that I think a lot of people need to remember. And then tying it back into the point I was going to make is that it's not what comes up, it's where you take it. Reminding yourself that other people may not necessarily believe in the law, and because they don't, or they may have their opinions of it, doesn't necessarily mean that that has to bring you down. And reminding yourself that other people are entitled to their opinion, but it doesn't actually matter because it's your life, you're the operant power. If you still believe in it and still want to at least give it a try, that is more than enough to stop it from affecting your manifestation. The only way someone else's opinions will make any difference is if you're allowing it to make a difference. It's like, for example, I had a service where I helped other people by doing the affirmations and such for them. Now, the reason why that would work for some people is because of their assumption that by having my assistance, it's helping them. If they outright are refused to assume that it would help them and they were sitting there thinking, even if he affirms to me all day, it's never going to work, that's what they're going to get because it's their assumption. I've had people come to me, and I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but I will get back to your question, I promise. But I've had people come to me that have had success, and we haven't even really worked on anything sort of particular or drastic. It's the fact that they just felt like they needed someone to help them along the way to get their success. And that was what they were assuming to be true. As soon as they got the someone to help them along the way, the floodgates opened because they were no longer holding themselves back with that assumption. So that's the first thing that I recommend reminding yourself when you feel like people are being conflicting to your manifestation with their opinions is that they hold no precedence and you can't control what they think in that moment. In the moment that they are thinking it or speaking it or anything like that, it's there, it's imprinted on the 3D reality. So you can't control it within this second, but you can control how you react to it. And how you react to it will dictate how it is going forward. So you can obviously change your awareness of what they're thinking so that they will be more on board in the future. But the main essence is to remember that no matter what they think, it doesn't make a difference to manifestation anyway. And they can keep thinking what they want. As long as you hold true to your assumptions, as long as you hold true to that end goal, what harm is it doing you to keep going with it? As long as it's giving yourself the best chances to get it, then there's no harm in it. Just keep going. And that's my sort of like recommendation on how to block out what others are saying. Let them say what they're going to say because it's not going to make a difference to your manifestation anyway. And have that same philosophy for like, the 3D when it shows itself, other people's opinions, negative thoughts. Can't control it once it's there, but you can control how you react to it, and how you react to it will control what it does to become like in the future. And that's kind of my way of going about it with like my own friends and stuff like that. I just laugh along with it. Oh yeah, you have your opinions, but this is what I'm about to show you. And then I've done this before as well with my own friends, and this will happen to you too. When you get the successes that you desire by actually sticking to it, then you can show them results, and all of a sudden they'll be on your side. They may not necessarily believe in manifestation, they may not necessarily believe and want to sort of give it a go themselves, but then all of a sudden they'll be on your side and backing you up when it comes to the whole thing. And this is the same thing with my own business. At first, they were a bit like, you sure you want to go into sort of doing this? You sure it's a good idea? And now my mate is constantly going, it's actually like what you're doing is really good. Like you had a whole few days off in Butlins, then went ill, and pretty much all I did was make one subliminal and responded to my clients, and I'm still going to be doing financially well enough to pay the bills and stuff. So now they're in support of what they weren't necessarily in support of before, because I'm showing them results. So same thing for you. Let them say what they got to say, work on your results, and then come back with the outcomes and then prove them wrong. Any tips on how to block this out or not let it affect your manifestation? Gave you that one. 100%. I feel like they're judging me for being positive. Thank you so much. That makes sense. Yeah, people will do that as well. Like going back to the crabs in a bucket thing, it is quite common for people to want to bring others down to them as opposed to rising themselves up to meet you. And this is one thing that I think if more people had that mindset of, oh, this person's doing well, or at least they're trying. You may not necessarily even be doing well at something, but you're trying. If more people tried more, excuse me, if more people tried more to match the people that are doing better, as opposed to trying to bring the people that are doing well down to match them, I think this world would be a lot better of a place. And you don't even necessarily need manifestation to do that. You don't need to believe in the law of assumption and your thoughts create to do that. But just a switch in mindset would make a whole big difference. But just try to remember that. And once you can get out of that bucket, then you can help the other crabs climb out with you. And that's kind of the thing that I try to do now. I mean, that's what my entire business and everything that I do here is based on. I found my way out the bucket, and now I'm trying to help all the other crabs that are actually willing to make the climb themselves. And that's why all you lovely people are here supporting me. And hopefully, I'm giving you guys enough back to help you go on your own journeys as well. And then you say, thank you so much. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, hopefully I answered the question in the way that you want. If you feel like I maybe didn't, by all means, let me know. So obviously a members live stream, so I want to make these as impactful as possible. Going to go back to the comment that I missed from Sean for a second, which is, well, SP reached out and I hung out with him for a while. Money literally grows on trees. Well, I suppose hopefully the hanging out with SP2 was good. Obviously, I know that we had our sort of mild discussion about some things. Katie's messaged me saying she's trying to join the stream, but she can't. Well, it's because she's not a gold member. It's only available for the gold people. But yeah, I mean, obviously we discussed a little bit about like the SPs and stuff like that. So hopefully hanging out with SP2 wasn't a bad thing. Obviously, you'll have to let me know. And money literally grows on trees. I mean, yeah, it literally does. But like the like the not old wives' tales, like the sayings and stuff, like stories that parents tell their kids and stuff. Rena says, also, I love Katie. Will she ever be back to do her tarot readings? I love them. Yes, she will. I can promise you she will. She was actually thinking about starting them up within the next couple of days once the kids go back to school. She wanted to start them sooner. Oh, ads will run shortly for some viewers. I don't want there to be ads for viewers. I clicked ads skip, so hopefully that skips the ads for you lot. There's no point. You already, paid for the membership. I don't need to be fucking charging you to watch the stream as well. Hopefully that skips it for you guys. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll do some settingsy stuff. I'll see if I can. But yeah, so we did actually want to start doing some tarot readings this week, but then I fell really ill, and I feel really bad for Katie actually, because I actually did stay in bed for a whole day, which is really unlike me, which is how I know that I genuinely got really ill, because usually when I'm ill, I'll keep trucking on, but I couldn't get out of bed and I was absolutely fucked. Did what I could and all that lot. And I made sure that when I was feeling a little bit better, I looked after the baby and stuff like that, so Katie could have her moments. But yeah, unfortunately, she was holding the fort down on her own for at least one full day, and then mostly for the other days, because she was ill, but she wasn't as bad as me in terms of, she could still operate quite well. I suppose you could say I got man flu. But yeah, so she really does deserve a lot of credit, which I'll be taking her out next week as like a big thank you and everything like that. But because of the falling ill and stuff like that, we just didn't get around to doing any of the tarot readings, but she did want to. So once the kids are back at school next week, obviously we'll both be fully recovered and everything. I say next week, as of tomorrow, she is looking at getting the tarot readings back up and running. And obviously, being that you guys are members, you guys will get a cheaper tarot readings than if you're non-members. But yeah, so they'll be back, and she is wanting to and I'd like your opinion. Obviously, there's only 3 people in her at the moment, but still 3 very important people. I'd like your opinion. She did some spell stuff for New Year's. I think she put it in the Facebook group chat about like some ideas that you can do. And she does spell stuff here as well. And she did some stuff for New Year. She sat there for maybe about an hour and a half just doing all these different little like spells and writings and stuff like that for money. And this, even despite being ill, despite not being able to post the best of content, despite not being able to advertise my stuff very well, this week financially has been one of the best weeks we've had since we went viral last March. And I'm just accrediting it purely under the basis of her, the witchy stuff that she was doing, the spells, the magic, and all that kind of stuff, because I wasn't even, doing any money manifestations because I was fucking ill, dead, basically, and in Butlins. And yet, and like I said, I wasn't even posting content that was particularly amazing to attract loads of people. And this week has done incredibly well financially, and she was doing a lot of financial stuff. And it's one of those things that I think that I genuinely, maybe a year ago, I wouldn't have been all that like, oh yeah, I would have been like, spells, it's just another technique, whatever. And I still do believe it is, because it's just another form of a technique. But I really think that the magic stuff that she did actually genuinely has made an impact on this week financially. Because I also, and this is another thing as well that I might bring up in a future video, I also have this assumption that Christmas is the time period where people wouldn't want to come to coaching. So obviously I have to overcome that whereby like sort of living in the end of financial abundance and stuff like that, which I've sort of been doing a little bit now that I feel a little bit better. But leading up to this, so she did this stuff and it's been an incredible week. So going on, like after all of that tangent to explain what it is that I was actually going to explain, I suggested to her, why doesn't she make a spells course? Obviously nothing like crazy expensive, because I know other coaches have a course for like £100 and stuff like that, but like a course whereas maybe like 20 different videos of her doing a walkthrough step by step of some of the spells that she does that actually works for us, and then putting it on like the membership for like £15 or something for you guys to download all the videos or something like that. So I'd actually genuinely really like your opinions on whether you think that would be a good idea. I think that they're amazing, honestly. I think I've done some with her and they're actually quite fun to do as well. I find it adds a little bit of like an enjoyment factor in back into the manifestation stuff because it's more practical and you're doing stuff. But yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I was going to suggest it. I suggested to her, and she liked the idea. And yeah, I was going to see what you guys thought. But actually, let me get into some questions and then comments and stuff because I've been just rambling for ages. Also, love Katie. Will she ever be back? Yeah, I answered that one. Yeah, I'm so excited. I shall definitely be ordering another reading soon. Well, that's great. It really does mean a lot to Katie that you guys support her side of things. She wants to do more for the business and for the channel, but part of her is a bit worried that she wouldn't necessarily be good enough with the video side of things. So she's worried that people get bored of listening to her or stuff like that. So she really enjoys the spells and the tarot readings and stuff like that. So it's really great that you guys support her, and it really does mean a lot. So because it means a lot to her, it makes her happy, and seeing her happy makes me happy. So obviously, thank you very much for that. It really does mean a lot to all of us. And then you also say Kate is amazing. She absolutely is. Shauna says, I made 3 different lists of 5 different things to manifest. And on the first list, every one of the things that came to pass and really fast. The other 2 lists only partially came. Curious about that. And then you go into some different, so I'll answer that in a sec. So it's hard for me to say why that's the case without kind of knowing more about the lists themselves and where your mind is at regarding them. One thing that I have found, I'm just going to take a quick drink. To be honest, when you have a cough and a dry throat and stuff like that, Coke probably isn't the best of options, but yeah, we live and learn. One thing that I have found with lists specifically is people will have success with the lists because they just do it without kind of overthinking it. They're like, these, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I'm just going to be relaxed about it. And then they get the success because they're not being overly attached or obsessed with it. But then what happens is because they got success with the first list, they almost expect success with the second list and then begin to watch for these successes and then begin to get irritated when there's no successes, which is basically just showing their subconscious mind, don't give me any successes. Happens all the time with people that they come to me, they're like, oh, I tested it with, I just really want to see like a green balloon. Been doing this for like 3 months and still nothing. And it's like, it's because you're doing it to prove to yourself that manifestation exists, which is basically saying, I don't have proof in this moment, so give me proof, which your subconscious mind is just hearing as I don't have proof in this moment, therefore not providing any. So despite the fact that they're doing it to prove it to themselves, they still need to go about it as though they've already received that proof and still have that full-fledged faith. And I think that's, I'm not saying this is definitely you. Like I said, I'd need to know more about your lists and kind of your mindset and stuff like that. But this could potentially be a reason as to why one of the lists came true really well and the other one didn't, because you're the first list did great, and then you're waiting for the second list to do the same, and it hasn't. So now you're kind of recreating that. Well, why is it not happening? Why is it not happening? And then that's what's making it not happen. Rena says, I'd love to do the spell course. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I was probably going to get her to do it anyway, or see if she would want to do it anyway, but I just wanted to have your guys' opinions, because obviously, being that you guys support the biggest tier of the membership, it means a lot that you're here, so your input is valued, and hopefully you can obviously give me more feedback on what I can do to better the memberships, as well as the channel, as well as coaching and stuff like that. Always trying to better my services, because value is the most important side of what I do. You know, if I'm not providing actual genuine value to you all, then I'm failing as a business owner, I'm failing as a coach, and I'm failing as someone that's trying to help you. So, you know, it means a lot when I can have feedback. Shauna says, spending time with SP2 was okay, but not who I wanted to be with. Yes, great idea. She totally should. Well, I can see that. I can see the mindset of like, yeah, this is good, but, you know, I'd rather be with someone else, or I'd rather be, you know, doing XYZ thing. So the thing is that I would try to recommend in that instance, if it was me doing it, or how I would go about it, is to just try and be present in the moment, enjoy it while you're there, and just hold that assumption of being with who you actually want to be with, and create that for yourself. You know, eventually it's going to feed into that. You're going to create that, and then that's going to become your new truth. And then you'll have the good memories with SP2, but then you'll have who you really want, which is, I'm assuming, SP1. And then, yes, great idea. She totally should. Yeah, I'm, like I said, I'm definitely gonna sort of get her to do it. Because the great thing about like a spells course, as opposed to maybe like the course that I would do, is while she's doing it, she's also technically manifesting, because she's showing you how to do it. So I'm gonna sit there and I'm just gonna wait for the money to come in while she's doing the course, because she's gonna be doing all like the intention setting stuff, and it's gonna make a difference, just like it has this last week. So I like it. I like it. Rena says, it would be great because videos on spells on YouTube, etc., is a minefield. So going to someone who is reliable would be amazing. I do agree. When I first got into sort of manifestation as a whole, and I saw all these spell stuff, I tried some of them just for the fun of it, but it was so hard to know what was like a good thing to do, what actually worked, what was just for views. And overall, yeah, I agree. But every time so it's funny, because I found that every time we've done spell stuff, there has been a surge within the business growth, whether it's through subscribers, clients, or anything like that. Unfortunately, I don't make as much time to do the stuff as I wish I did. Um, I just stick to sort of my main stuff and let her do her stuff when she has fun, the time to do so. But I definitely should start getting back into it more, um, because it's fun and it works. Shauna says, spot on, makes 100% sense. I think, if I remember from when you said that, I think you're referring to the list explanation that I and then you say, yes, I was doing that. So I think you're referring to the list explanation that I gave. If so, then hopefully that kind of gives you the my chair's so squeaky. What's the word I'm looking for? The steps forward, the ways to make adjustments going forward. I think that's what I meant. Oh, Jesus. Rena says, another question. I'm manifesting my SP. I haven't been reaching out and focusing on techniques you have kindly suggested. Oh, I haven't been reaching out, and then separately, and I've been focusing on techniques you have kindly suggested. Will reaching out affect my manifestation? So I don't think so, depending on where you're coming from. Now, this is the reason why I say this is because, similar to what point was it that I made at the beginning? It was in response to Shauna's thing about what comes up isn't what matters, is where you take it. I find that this is the same thing as well for action. The action you take doesn't matter. It's where you're coming from when taking it. For example, just using sort of normal common sense as well to sort of help with this question, because I find that when you can actually put it in sort of like a standard common sense way, it helps kind of get the answer on board a little bit easier. But if we just use standard common sense, there's people out, and I don't mean that in the sense of you're not using common sense. I'm just saying, like, in this explanation, I'm just going to go with like basis common sense. There's people out there that don't believe in the law, or they may not necessarily know anything further than, think positively. Thinking negatively isn't going to help you. And yet there's still hyper successful people there. Now, they're super hyper successful by taking action. So this shows us that in this world, it's not a case of you can never take action. You only have to live up here. clearly you can take action. I put out advertisements on my business that gets me new clients. You could argue that's pushing the 3D, but you could also argue that's just what a successful business owner does. So the way that I deem action is the action itself isn't the determining factor as to whether or not you're going to get an outcome. What is the determining factor is the mindset in which you're doing something. So in this instance, you're obviously referencing messaging. Let me just double check just to make sure. Will reaching out affect my manifestations? You're obviously referring to reaching out and trying to get a hold of your specific person. You can get a hold of your specific person from the mindset of this is my person, so why wouldn't they respond to me? But you can also come at it from the perspective of I really need them to respond to me because I haven't spoken to them in so long. What if they don't respond to me? Blah 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 blah. Now you can see just in that there, the two different mindsets in which you're doing something show the two different states of being while doing it. If you're coming at it from the first perspective of this is my boyfriend, you're more than likely going to get a better outcome because you're not outcome dependent, therefore allowing the things to flow. And you're coming from a place of he's mine, which is going to aid your subconscious mind in that being the outcome. Whereas if you're coming at it from a perspective of I need him to respond, or if he doesn't respond, I'm going to lose it, or things like that, now you're putting a dependency on the outcome. Now you're putting a need for an outcome, which shows that you're currently not in abundance of whatever that outcome is, therefore showing your subconscious mind more of that lack of outcome, which creates it. So, reaching out will not affect your manifestation in a bad way if you reach out in the right way. Reaching out will affect your manifestation if you don't go about it in the right way, which is all up here. First off, in order to know how to do it, I would recommend looking into why you wish to reach out in the first place. If you wish to reach out because it just feels good, you don't mind if you don't get a response, you just want to, wish him a good day or something like that, and you're completely outcome dependent, and even if he blocked you, it wouldn't be the end of the world, then you're fine. In that instance, you're fine. But if you're reaching out from the perspective of I haven't heard from him in so long. I miss him. What if he's forgotten about me? What if he's doing XYZ thing? That's obviously coming from the wrong place, and I wouldn't recommend you do it. Once you reach out, if you choose to reach out, you must stay the course that you chose, which means if you reached out from a place of abundance and I just want to, wish him a good day and everything like that, hold that even if he doesn't respond, because at least even if you don't get a response, you're still going to be creating positive things up here. Whereas if you then start to panic about it, you're obviously then going to be creating those things that you're panicking about. So, in short, reaching out will only affect it depending on how you're reaching out, depending on where you are up here when reaching out. Hopefully, that answers your question in detail enough. EG says, yes, absolutely, of course, for her yes, absolutely, of course, for her expertise. Thank you very much for the comment on it. Following will also reach additional people, and she can have it for other platforms if choosing so. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those things that will just continue to grow and expand as we grow and expand as well. Obviously, her side of things will grow and expand, and she can uh, have her own fan base, client. I mean, she already does have her own fan base. I'm pretty sure there's a big chunk of the people that show up here for her more than they do for me. So, which is great, obviously. But as she does stuff and as we grow, her stuff will grow, and then she can go off and do her own things as well, like on her own sort of platforms. But yeah, thank you very much for saying. I think it's she'll be quite happy to hear all this. She is currently asking to get into the live stream, but I will not let her. She's supposed to be spending time with her sister. She always does this. She goes out, or not always does this, but when she's out while I'm on the live streams, she tries to join so she can support and watch, which is lovely. But go and see people, go and enjoy the people that you're spending time with. Shauna says yes, the list. Okay, cool. Thank you very much for confirming. EG says printing out your book at the moment. Oh, thank you very much. Just a curiosity, possibly a possibility of an audio format in the future. No rush, of course. Yes, yes. It was originally supposed to come with an audio format. The reason why it didn't was well, there was a couple of reasons. So the first reason why it didn't was because every single time I sat down to record, every single time without failure, the next door's dogs would start barking. And it pissed me off to no end because when I was listening back to see if the quality was right, you could just hear them yapping in the background. And then when I finally managed to kind of like get over that and sort of, remove my awareness from that, I found that I was recording, or what I did find was that I was recording And when recording, I would like stumble over myself a whole lot and fuck up the recordings. So then I had to keep sort of like editing, spending ages doing edits, and then it got kind of choppy and cutty. And it kind of just got to a point where I was like, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to do a fluent run of each chapter with like no need to edit or anything like that, so it can sound fluent, and then piece them all together. So I started working on that. I started getting to a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to read the chapters a few times before recording so I can just get it in my head, the wordings and stuff like that. So I can, even though I wrote it, I still wasn't like necessarily familiar with the story itself, if that makes sense, from like a reading it perspective. So that's why I stumbled over myself. Because as some of you, not I haven't been too bad in this live stream, but if you've shown up to other live streams, I stumble over shit when I read. I can read, but for some reason I just can't read and talk at the same time. But I started to do that, and then I did it. I did it for 3 different chapters, but I didn't even think to myself about the location I was doing it. So for one of the chapters, I did it in here. For one of them, I did it out there, and for another one, I did it upstairs. 3 different rooms with 3 different audio qualities. So when I put it together, it sounded fucking awful, and I was just like, you know what, I'm done. So I gave up with it momentarily and just posted the book. But I do intend to get an audio version out for it as well. I think it would be a great idea for it. I just need to A, feel better, B, put my phone in one place and keep it there so the audio sounds the same, and C, have the dogs next door shut the fuck up. Shauna says, what he's saying is 100% correct. I've reached out being in both states and always better results with abundance mindset. Absolutely. I mean, it's simple tweaks like that to how you do stuff make all the difference. I've seen people put hours upon hours upon hours into a business every single day, 12 hours a day, and go nowhere because they're constantly thinking, if I don't do this, I'm not going to get anywhere. I need to do this work. I need to do this, grind culture. You don't get anywhere unless you work for hours. And they've got the most horrific mindsets while doing it, and they go nowhere. And then I've seen people like myself at certain points within this business where I've put in like 2 hours a day maximum. And I've just had the basis of, well, I'm doing good stuff. What I'm doing is going to make money. And as a result, it does. And it's one of those things that it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're doing it from the right place up here, that's what actually makes a difference. So yeah, hopefully, Rena, if you are still in the stream at this point, I think you are, because we now have 5 people. I'm pretty sure there's only 6 people on the gold membership currently, which, excuse me, I think is actually a really great turnout. So thank you all for showing up. But take that on board as part of the answer as well. This is someone that's had a success with doing so, with the mindset stuffs. Mike says, finally made it. Haha. Thank you very much for showing up today, Mike. I was wondering when I was going to see you pop in. Of all the people that I was expecting to see today, I thought you were going to be like bang on first person in. So I'm surprised that I'm only seeing you now, but thank you very much for showing up. EG says timing. What's that in relation to? Rena says, I am good. Glad to have you still here. EG says, wasn't time for it yet. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it was a case of there was people that needed the book there and then, so I needed to just get it posted instead of making them wait longer for the audio version. But there will definitely be an audio version, and if I'm not mistaken, I can see who bought what for quite a while back. So what I do intend to do is add the audio version as a free edition to the people that have already bought it, and then obviously I'll probably bump up the price a little bit because of the extra value slash time that it took to make for the people that are buying it from when the audio is put out. But I definitely don't want it to be a paid edition to the people that have already bought it, because it was supposed to be there for you anyway. But obviously I'll cross that bridge when when I get around to it, because it's a monumental task. I mean, it's only like actually I don't even remember how big it is, but it's a lot of words for a small book, so it's going to take a while to talk through. Rena says, thanks, Matt. Great advice. You're very welcome. I appreciate it. Shauna says, so if I buy it today, I'll get the audio. Yeah, I mean, but by the time that it's sold, sorry, if by the time that the audio is added to it, that's when I'll start adding the price for the audio, because it's done. But anyone that buys it up to then, I'm just going to assume was just supporting and then just give it as an additional bonus. It's one of those things, like, obviously this is technically a business. This is what pays the bills and stuff like that. But I don't like to be overly businessy, you know? I don't like to be like, "Oh, this person's asked about the audiobook, but they've already been supporting me on the gold membership. They've already bought the ebook. They've already done this, 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 and this, and this." And then go, "But I'm charging you more because it's a business." I don't like that. I understand that, yes, you know, I can't just keep giving stuff away for free constantly, but I do believe that there is more value as a business owner offering good value for a good price than trying to be super businessy, if that makes sense. Like, I find that because obviously my prices are like lower now than most, if not all, everyone that I've seen anyway. I'm not going to say that every single one of them, but every coach that I've ever checked up on, their prices cost more than mine do. And yet I can still pay the bills for my house despite having relatively cheap costs for the market that I'm in. And I think that's because I offer so much value. So I get such an influx of people. I may not charge the most, but because I get a lot of people working and supporting and stuff like that, that pays more than if I was to bump the prices up massively but only get a few people. Yes, maybe my life would be easy because I only have less people to work with, but I actually like working with more people because the aim of this channel in the first place was never even a business anyway. It was meant to be a just helping people where necessary, and then more people kept asking me to show up, so I kept doing so, and then more people were like, "Here, I really need your additional help," and I was like, "Well, unfortunately, I can't just give my time away for free because I have, you know, a family, a 9 to 5 job at the time, stuff like that." So that's why it ended up becoming more of a business venture. The people that are actually serious about it were willing to pay the money to for my time, and the rest was history. But I definitely do occupy the philosophy of I'd rather add more value and provide more free things and create a brand and create a connection between us as consumer and producer than just shove the fact that everything's sales, sales, sales constantly. Not saying that that doesn't work, but that's just the way I go about it. And I think that that's worked really well for me because the people that I work with end up becoming good friends or people that I'm sort of close with, you know, obviously not close as in like best friends kind of thing, but like close as in like I could definitely say that you guys like me as a person as well as as a producer, as opposed to sometimes I've heard from other coaches. I'm not going to name any names, but like other coaches where people have been like, I like their work, but you know, I feel like they're constantly trying to sell me something or they're constantly trying to get money from me. Whereas I've never heard anyone say that about me yet. Obviously, I don't know what people say behind closed doors, but I've never had anyone ever say that about me that I've seen. So that's good because that's how I want to be. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Shauna says, sweet. That was in relation to the if she buys it now thing. Yes, part of the reason I'm still around. I think that's in relation to what I was saying about the business factor. I'm glad you're still around though. Rena says, random question. How does someone know if they need coaching or can manifest using techniques without coaching, i.e., watching your videos? I've been wanting to get one-to-one coaching with yourself for a while now, but didn't really know if I needed it or not. So the thing is, no one needs coaching. This is one thing that is like kind of misconstrued on the internet a little bit. No one ever needs coaching. There's more than enough content and information out there. Even just my additional things that you could purchase can get you your manifestations. But the thing is coaching is always a benefit, whether it's manifestation, you know, financial, piano lessons, any kind of mentoring or coaching, it will always benefit you, assuming you're going to someone that's accredited, or at least, you know, they prove to you that they've done what they're referring to, or, you know, you trust them and stuff like that. Because if someone is better than you at something or has what you want to have, they've unlocked a step that you're still waiting to unlock, which means you will always be able to find benefit in going to them. Even if you may not necessarily get your manifestation or become the perfect pianist or anything like that, you will always learn from these people that are better than you to then go take it on your own, which is what coaching is essentially. Coaching isn't I get you your desire. Coaching is I lead you down the path that helps get you your desire. It's up to you to do what's necessary in the right work based on what we've learned. So I will always stand by the fact that no one ever needs coaching, as in you will only ever receive failure if you don't get coaching. But coaching will always be a benefit. So I think the way to answer your question for yourself would be a case of, do you think that coaching from an individual, whether it's me or Sammy or someone else, would cause more benefit and be more satisfying and fulfilling for you than if you weren't to go for it? because you can still gain all the success. You could grab all my worksheets or binge watch all of my videos and know everything that you need to know to manifest. But do you think maybe having that additional person to just review what it is that you're doing, or maybe look at things from an outside's perspective, specifically to your example, do you feel like that would benefit you more than continue to do it for yourself? Because I'm not going to sit here and say that, yes, you need coaching, come to me right this moment. But I myself have had coaching for things in the past. Even now, I would, if I felt I needed to, go to a manifestation coach to have their perspective of my situation that maybe I'm missing. Because someone else that has what you want or knows how to do what you want, they will be able to bring things that you haven't thought of or perspectives that you don't quite notice. And that is infinitely valuable if you can take the right lessons from it. So, no, you don't need coaching, but if you feel like getting coaching would benefit you more than not getting coaching, then I recommend going for it. There's no time like the present, because the aim of coaching is to get you closer to your desire or get you on the path so that you can get your desire faster anyway. So, it's essentially like just waiting less time. That's just my sort of perspective and views on it. Obviously, take from that what you will. But yeah, I think that everyone should go to coaching if they're serious about something and they're not quite getting the results they want on their own. In anything, piano lessons, money, anything like that, not just manifestation. I just one more little final point. I am actually not now because you sort of grow and sort of change and stuff like that. But I've been part of plenty of different coaching groups along with this journey of business and stuff. Financial groups, not necessarily one-to-one coaching, but groups where the runner is in there and answers questions of business stuff, financial stuff, drop shipping stuff. Literally, so many different things just to learn more because they know more than I do. And then you say, oh, I already answered that one. EG says, book is amazing. Read a little before sleep, dreamt in end state all night. That's good. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you very much for the kind words. What part have you got up to so far, just so I can kind of gauge where you're at roughly? Dreamt in end state all night. I'm glad to hear that though. Shauna says, you can totally do it. I have. I think that is that in relation to, what's that in relation to? Sorry, Shauna, I'm not 100% sure what that is. Martina says, I highly recommend the one-to-one coaching. Very satisfied. Thank you very much, Martina. That is very kind of you to say. Rena says, I've heard some amazing things. I will have to get some booked in with you soon, Matt. Absolutely. My door's always open. And as part of this membership as well, you do get discounts on coaching. So before you do go to coaching, just drop me an email first and we can arrange the discounts, because the last thing I'd want is for you missing out on that. Lost where I am. Shauna says, I'm assuming I'm in like 100%. I'm gonna guess. I was 100% blocked by 2 SIPs, and right now I'm not blocked by either. Oh, SPs, SIPs. I thought you were calling them simps. By 2 SPs, and right now I'm not blocked by either. That's good. I'm glad that it went that way for you. Then you also say, I'd love to have you as a coach. I'll get there. I think it would benefit. Do you think group or individual is better? Well, thank you very much for the kind words about loving to have me as a coach. Obviously, as part of the gold membership, you do get that one 10-minute call each month, as well as these live streams. And like I said at the beginning of the live stream, I'm thinking about also adding in an option where there's like a sort of daily response where I respond to like once a day on something, whether it's like a specific app like Telegram or something, just to keep it all in one place. I'll admit it, I definitely won't make it anything like massive, like long paragraph responses, just purely under the basis of, obviously that's what the email coaching clients is for. And, I want to keep them having their really in-depth stuff. And this would probably be like a quick fire response sort of thing. But I do want to make it, again, going back to the value side of things, I do want to make it so that coaching is accessible for everyone in one form or another. Obviously, the people that do have the financial freedom to go for the bigger packages will sort of have me there constantly or as consistently as they need. And then, but there's still options for the people that maybe not aren't in the financial situation that they would like to be in, just to pick themselves up. And then when they get themselves to where they wish to be, that's when obviously the bigger sort of more in-depth coaching is available. Because I want to help as many people as possible. Like I said, it didn't start out as a money grab. It started out as a let me help as many people as possible, and I'm still keeping that same thing alive 2 years late. 2 years? Yeah, 2 years later. So yeah, hopefully you can make use of that. Oh yeah, and you also ask, do you think group or individual is better? So I think it depends. I think I've never done group coaching. Like, for example, Kim Velez, she does group coaching. I've never done anything like that myself, as in coached people in a group. And I've never been part of being coached by a group. So I don't know for sure what that's like. The groups that I've joined are mostly like my Facebook group, for example, with a little bit more sort of in depth and stuff like that than what my Facebook group is, where it's mostly just other people all in the same areas asking questions, talking and stuff. And the person that they're obviously sort of trying to get information from, he shows up and answers a few questions, gives a little bit of advice and stuff like that. That's the closest thing to group coaching that I've ever had. If I'm honest, if I was to, and I'm making this on the assumption that I'm basing this on an assumption because, like I said, I've never done group coaching. I would say that individual coaching would be better because I can't see how group coaching would be able to be specific enough to an individual to really help that individual. My assumption is they kind of take it in turns, kind of like a sort of Alcoholics Anonymous kind of thing, where it's like, hi, I'm Matthew, this is my situation. And then the coach gives them advice. But I feel like in a group coaching, some people probably wouldn't want to say as much as they feel they actually do need to get the help that they want. And I feel like because it's a group, especially if it's like only like a 2 hour session and you got like 8 people, you are just within that alone, I don't know, 15 minutes each person. That may not necessarily be enough. And therefore the person's trying to like cram it all in or something like that. So that makes me think that individual coaching would be better. But like I said, it's just an assumption. I don't know for sure. EG says, have enjoyed coaching with Matt. Thank you very much. Accountability, commitment, seen, heard, and he could absolutely point out my blind spots and help me troubleshoot them. Priceless. Well, thank you very much for the kind words, EG. It really does mean a lot, and I'm glad that you had value from my coaching services. Shauna says, to manifest without a coach. Oh, saying that you've done it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is possible. I mean, I manifested Katie back without a coach. I've never been to a manifestation coach for specific one-to-one coaching. I've obviously asked questions and stuff like that here and there and asked opinions on stuff, but I've never gone to one-to-one coaching for manifestation. So you definitely don't need to, but it's just if you feel like you sort of need that benefit more than if having the benefit outweighs how you're doing without the benefit, then that's when I'd say maybe give it a look. Excuse me, but no one ever needs it. Where was I? EG says, end of Shooting for the Stars. Dreamt about why not me in the end state of yes, me. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad I put that chapter first because I think that it is one literally. If people could just literally look a bit further than where they're looking, that would make a massive difference for them. So I'm glad that you've enjoyed that and already found like the kind of good not reciprocation. That's not really the word I'm thinking of. You've been affected by the chapter in a positive way. Really glad to hear that. Shauna says, I was asking because I noticed a lot of coaches are going group coaching routes. I agree, it is my assumption also that one-to-one would be better. Yeah, I'm not sure why. My assumption, again, just assumption, and I don't know enough about other coaches to know them as individuals or anything like that. But my assumption is it bangs out more clients in a shorter time span. Because like, for example, Tuesdays and Fridays are my only call days because I'd like to have other days where I don't have to make sure that I'm here for a call. Because like sometimes I might go out, or if like I have to push the gym back or something like that. I just like having days when I don't do calls. And my Tuesdays and Fridays can get really busy sometimes, where I'm like literally not turning my camera off for like 3 straight hours, and it's literally just one client after another after another. Then I have like a half an hour break, and then I've got another 4 clients and stuff like that. So they can sometimes get really busy. And then when you think of like the bigger coaches, for example, like Kim Velez, obviously she's got like 70,000, 80,000 subscribers or something like that. So she's literally got like just under 8 times the amount of people that I have. So let's just for the basis of saying, it works the same way in clients, she'll have 8 times the amount of clients that I do. That's a lot of people to get through. So I can understand why she would want to maybe group them together so that she can have more free time, because obviously a big part of having a business is so that you can go off and live life on your own terms. But if you're stuck constantly dealing with clients from like 9 a.m. till 9 p.m., you might as well have just stayed in a 9 to 5 job. So that's just my assumption, and this is no sort of like bad word towards any other coaches, not saying that they're trying to, bang them out or anything like that. That's just how I look at it. That's what I think would be the case, because once you get especially way bigger, you either need to hire more other coaches to deal with the client base that you're getting, or try and group them together so you can fit more people together without taking up masses upon masses of your time, which I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with. But again, just my assumption. I still think that one-to-one would be better. And maybe I'll end up doing my own group coaching stuff in the future if I ever get like that busy. But I know that I will never take away the one-to-one coaching, because I just think it just simply helps people more. It is just more impactful for people to actually be able to sit and have your undivided attention. So I know that the group coaching would only ever be like an additional option as opposed to the option, if that makes sense. Just going to answer a couple more, because we're at the hour mark now, and I can feel myself getting quite dry, and I still need to I still need to do the two members only videos, which I think you're going to like, actually. I hope. Of course you are, but they should be live maybe today, if not definitely tomorrow. Oh, there's only one more thing. Shauna says, yes, you have a life you need to live. Yeah, absolutely. It's important. I think it's like that saying, healed people heal people, and like if you can't love yourself, then you can't love anyone else, essentially. And I think it's the same thing. Um, if you're sat here, like if I'm so not necessarily miserable, probably miserable is the wrong word, but if I'm working so many hours because I've got so many clients, it's going to get to a point where I'm so drained, or I'm getting so frustrated at hearing the same people complain about the same things and stuff like that, that my anger or sort of like drainedness or tiredness would probably come across in my videos and in my coaching and stuff. And then I'd stop being the effective coach that I would want to be, because I'm having too much of my time taken up by working and stuff, that my value then drops. So I can definitely see why people would, if that's the reason, is in like trying to keep it so they can still have some spare time. I can definitely see why group coaching is the route that they're going. But like I said, I'd rather have it as an option as opposed to the option. But who knows, we'll be at that point sometime, and maybe we'll have to see how I get on then. But hopefully I can still stand by that. It's very important to me, as you may have noticed at this point, to stand by what I hold to my against myself, if that makes sense. Like you may have noticed it in my content and stuff like that, where like I don't do crazy amounts of specific people stuff. I still do, obviously, but like there's those channels out there that it's like every single video is like, get a text, get your person, get this, get that, and it's all specific person, because that's what sells. I said that I wanted to help everyone in all areas, not just specific person, and I've still stuck to that even now. And I think it's very important for me to stand up, like to stand by, what I set out to accomplish. So, but yeah, who knows? So let me just see. Let me answer these last ones here, and then I'm going to head off. Shauna says, fuck, I want that financial freedom to hire you one-to-one. Well, thank you very much. It means a lot that you're so eager, and it will definitely happen. Like I said, you're obviously part of this membership, so we still do have the 10-minute call, these live streams, which I'm thinking I'm going to be doing every couple of weeks, considering there's actually been a really good live stream. So I'm really happy to hear that or see that. And it will definitely happen. Keep up the living in the end. Take on what I told you earlier about like the end state and stuff, and you'll get there. Rena says, thank you so much for the sorry, I'm really getting dry now. Thank you so much for the live chat, Matt. You are very welcome. Oh, you said this was great. You're very welcome. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you so much for being here. EG says, thank you so much. You're very welcome. Thank you also for being here. It means a lot. Shauna says, keep on rocking. You're great. Thank you very much. It really does mean a lot. You're great too. And then EG says, love to your lady and kiddos too. Thank you very much. I'll let them know. And then Shauna says, thank you so much. You are very welcome. Right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for showing up today. It really has been a pleasure. I will, because it's actually been quite a successful live stream, I'm going to let it be posted onto YouTube for obviously other people to watch and hopefully learn from. And yeah, like I said, I'll be doing this, hoping to do every couple of weeks. So stay part of the membership, and we'll speak to each other again in a few weeks. As if those of you, because there are still a few people that have signed up for the gold membership but haven't had their call, I'm just going to say it now while you're here. All you have to do is just drop me a message on Instagram. I do the call via Instagram just because it's the quickest way to just bang up the thing without giving my number away, because I've given my number away in the past to do calls, and it ended up with me being called at like 3 o'clock in the morning religiously by people trying to get like quick fire advice and stuff like that. And It's I want to provide value, but similar to what I said, we need our own times to unwind so that we can continue to help. So I don't give my number out anymore. Um, so that's why I do it via Instagram. So if you haven't had your 10-minute call yet and you would like it, drop me a message on Instagram. If you don't want your 10-minute call yet, just letting you know the options there. But thank you all so much for showing up to this live stream. It really has been a pleasure. And I look forward to seeing all you lovely people in the next one. Bye bye.